My name's Stuart Waiton. I am the chairperson of the Scottish Union for Education. It's a union that was set up for parents, teachers, and communities concerned about indoctrination in schools. And one of those concerns that we hear an awful lot from parents about is the sexualized nature of education, and in particular, primary education, where there is a surprising amount of quite explicit material, and an apparent lack of interest by at least some teachers and head teachers for concerns that parents have. And this is interesting for us. I was in a discussion with a grandmother yesterday who described when she was introducing a new type of sex education in schools a while ago, and the process that they went through, which is try and invite all the parents in collectively, show them all the videos, and if the parents weren't there, they would send the videos out to the parents. But there was a very relaxed and kind of collective attitude towards parents and collaboration, cooperation, which seems to be lacking to a certain extent today. And at times, there seems to be quite a dismissive and even offensive attitude by some of the head teachers. Of course, this isn't all head teachers, and we have come across one example which gives you a kind of illustration about the state of the problem at times, where one head teacher told a parent, "We've taken the clitoris off the curriculum." So remembering this is for primary-aged children, where a head teacher had to reassure a parent that they've now taken the clitoris off the curriculum. And whatever you think about this, however liberal you are about sex education, I think most of us, just using our common sense, would think that there's something a bit awry when you have to take the clitoris off the curriculum. So I'm delighted that we have Sarah Fraser with us today from the Highlands. And basically, I've invited Sarah on to tell us her story. So, Sarah, over to you. I guess just tell us your story. What happened? What was the problem? How did it go?
Okay, so basically, my daughter came home. She's 10. She at the time she was in primary 5. I don't know what that is in England and Wales, but so she was 10, and she came home with a letter in her bag. She handed me the letter. It was informing the parents that they were about to start this RSHP, as it's referred to up here, relationship, sexual health, and parenthood, I think it is. And I had a link to the website just to tell you a little bit about what they were going to be talking about with the children. I was dreading the letter because I knew it was coming, because I'd, been hearing a lot about it. But I decided I'd go on and have a little look at the website and see exactly what they were planning to discuss with my daughter. And I was absolutely horrified at the content. She's 10 years old. She's smart for her age, but she's very well protected. She's very innocent and naive for her age, as most of them should be at that age. And I was just horrified at some of the content I was seeing that they were planning to show to our children. On top of that as well, it's not just the content, it's who is going to be talking to my daughter about this content. And her teacher at the time happened to be a 30-year-old male. I was not okay with this. I discuss with my daughter important things, periods, all that kind of thing, changes. That's for me as her mum. Not even her father would discuss anything like that with her. He leaves that duty to her mum, And I wasn't happy. So also the nature of the letter, the wording said that it was mandatory. It was stated in a way that this is happening and that's it. Now, when I asked my little girl, did she know anything? Had she seen anything? What made me a little bit more angry was that when the letters came out, they'd already had 2 or 3 classes. And I wasn't aware. I didn't know it was done very discreetly. It was done on a Thursday morning, I think it was, like an hour or whatever. They'd already had a couple, and she had already been exposed to some content that, for me, the only word I could use to describe it is pornographic. There were naked men and women. in black and white images, and I just saw this was on the website. You know, it's there on the website.
These are photographs, aren't they? I think so.
Photographs of
Yeah.
a man and a woman. It's not a cartoon. It's not an outline. It's a male and a female human being. And I just could not believe this. And I asked her, had you seen this? And she said she'd seen some things. At first, she was a bit shy. She didn't really want to talk. So I contacted her teacher over the Class Dojo app, and the response. Now, we had a very good relationship beforehand. Everything was absolutely fine. My older son was at the school as well. Always had a good relationship with the school until this point. I contacted the teacher, and the response that I got was, "Oh, it's fine. I think it's good for them. Children these days are, much older than their years, and it's all appropriate for them, etc." And basically, I was told by him this is happening, and that's it. And I was like, well, excuse me, I'm her mum, and I'm not okay with this. Surely I have a say. And he went to the head teacher. He said, bear with me, because obviously a lot of these teachers, they're taking their word from above. He came back and he said, no, it's mandatory. They have to do it. Basically there was nothing I could do. I had no say. And this infuriated me as a mum. I was like, hang on a minute, what are you talking about? So I called the head teacher. It took several attempts to get her to call me back. She did in the end, and I got the same message from her. No, it's mandatory. We've been told it's beneficial for the children. And I asked her, why? Give me the evidence and the reasons why. Where are you getting this information from? Are you telling me that as a parent, I don't have the right to say no? And she said to me, no, you don't. And I said to her, they know me well. Like I said, my son, who's 10 years older, he was at the school. Although, may I point out that the teacher and the head teacher are of the newer generation of teachers. They're not the old school. So they don't know me personally that well. But I was told in no uncertain terms, it's mandatory, it's the law. We have to teach it. I said, I have no parental rights. You tell me I have no rights to opt out. She said no. And I got quite distressed. I got quite upset. I says, well, first of all, I have moral reasons why I don't like this. I have religious reasons why I don't like this. I said, and also I'm just not okay with this. She's 10. She's 10 years old. Don't I have any say at all? I protect it. And she said, well, during lockdowns, lots of children were exposed to so many things online. They already know about it. I says, oh, that's okay then. If they've seen it already, so they may as well see it from you then, let's show them it again. And I said to her, no, we should be doing more to crack down on what they're being exposed to online rather than showing them it again in schools. This is not okay. I said, I have worked very hard with my little girl to keep her innocent. I said, she doesn't have like other kids. She doesn't have a phone. She doesn't have TikTok. She doesn't have all this stuff. I have the family link up, on her tablet so I can monitor. Says, I will not do all of this and work hard just for a teacher to tell me I have no rights as a mother. I said, it's not just me, it's her father, her older brother. We're all in agreement that this is not okay for her. And I said, what about this getting it right for every child? And I'm telling you this is not right for my child, and you're not listening to me. So I asked her as well.
Just to say on that bit, I mean,
Yes.
it's interesting, isn't it, that to start with, she's saying it's like it's a fait accompli. This is compulsory. It's mandatory. Yes. It's the law.
Yeah.
That you have absolutely no say about what your child gets. And then this is the argument, you see, which I find interesting, is that they start from, and it kind of seems to make sense, but then it's almost like the world turned upside down. So their logic is children have seen everything online, which is a huge presumption, which presumes that no parents are protecting their kids from online access. So they see everything online, they presume, which is not true. And then they say, so it's all right for us to do it. Now, as it happens, I don't believe that argument. I think that is an excuse because they think that there is something progressive about this more open, what they would see possibly as liberal, but it's just a kind of, I would say, as an unbalanced and immature approach to children. That they almost seem to be undermining childhood purposefully, which is very, very peculiar. And in the process, feeling the need to be dismissive of parents, so that they are essentially saying, we are acting as the guardian of your child, and you can have absolutely no say in that, which is quite extraordinary, I think.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's how it appeared to me. That's how it, well, that is how it was. That is factual. I asked her too, look, you seem a nice enough lady. Can I ask you, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable showing this content to children? Now, she told me I wasn't the only parent who had, a lot of parents had complained, but they'd also been told wrongly what I'd been told. Do you feel comfortable teaching children this content? And she said to me, no. And I said, well, there is your answer. You need to speak up. You are the head teacher of a school. You're telling me you're not comfortable. Why aren't you speaking up? Why are you not saying, no, I'm not doing this? Anyway, as it stands, I went away. I actually have a brother and a friend who are teachers, and they'd seen me have a bit of a moan on social media because I was very frustrated, very angry. I'd spoken to the teacher as well. I have a background. I said to her, look, I know about child abuse. I've been a victim myself. I was successful in somebody being convicted. I said I've done a bit of developmental psychology with children and everything, and I know what I'm looking for. To me, I'm sorry, this is grooming. This is grooming to me. I'm not comfortable with this at all. And I spoke with a friend, and who I won't say their name because obviously they're a teacher, and they were frightened and said, look, I believe your head teacher is wrong. They're giving you wrong information. And they gave me the name of a secondary school head teacher that I could email to ask for advice. So when I spoke to him, he confirmed they are wrong. You've been told wrong. You do have the right to withdraw. He then involved the local area manager, who he was quite a strong-minded chap, but he again reaffirmed that I had the right to withdraw and that the school would be spoken to. He did say something that concerned me, though, and this might interest you. He said, however, we are pressured to follow UN guidelines. And I've read enough about that to make me the hair stand up on the back of my neck. And he said the problem is you can withdraw. However, a lot of this content is kind of filtered into everyday classes and other things. It's not a specific class. It will get mentioned in other topics, and we're not really in a position to be able to let you know every time that happens for you to withdraw. So sometimes your daughter will be exposed to things and there's nothing that we can do about it.
Can I say on that is interesting about the UN, because there's a similar concern also raised in issues about the transgender issue with
Yes.
Glasgow City Council. And a letter was sent to Glasgow City Council, and one of the responses to the parent was to use some definitions by the United Nations to justify what was being said. And you're absolutely right. If you look at the United Nations, it's a very, very interesting from a sociological perspective, but very concerning from a parent's perspective.
Yeah.
Sexualization of childhood, where they start talking about this sexual and sexualized nature of children from 0 to 4. I mean, it's all the way through. They appear to see this as a form of freedom and liberation for very, very young children to have a sense of awareness of their sexuality, which I think goes against what you'd call it in terms of child development, historically, common sense in terms of what communities understand about childhood and the innocence of young children and children that haven't passed through puberty yet. And it does seem very interesting to me that you seem to have this divide between kind of, if you like, elite sections of society and global elites. They seem to have more in common with unelected, global elites on the other side of the world than they do with their own communities. You know, it's a
Yeah.
fascinating development that someone like you and the other parents are seen as a problem, unlike their enlightened friends, you know, somewhere in Geneva or Brussels or wherever they are, where
Mm.
who have this a progressive sense of what childhood should be. And that's that again, it seems a remarkable, really anti-democratic and anti-communal kind of development. Anyway, sorry, go
Yeah.
on.
No, I agree, and it's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I was told yes, you have rights, and I then received an email from the head teacher, apologizing, saying, you know, she had got it wrong. By this point, though, my daughter had already been exposed to content that I'd exerted my parental rights and said no, and my wishes were gone against. It was already too late. She'd already seen these things. And I wasn't happy, but I had an apology from her, not from the actual teacher, but from herself. But then she tried to say to me, she was then quoting, I mean, the area manager had said I had the right to withdraw from any and all aspects of the RSHP that I was not comfortable with for my daughter. But she then tried to say to me, oh, I'm sorry, but you're only allowed to withdraw her from the sexual health part. And she quoted a few things from the government website. You can't withdraw her from the others. So I went back to the area manager and I said, look, there are parts in the relationships and the parenthood that to me is of a sexual nature. And he said, absolutely, I agree with you. So what's her problem? What's she doing? And I says, well, she's now telling me you can withdraw from this part, but not from that part. And I said, look, any of these ideologies, like it doesn't matter what my personal views are and what I think. I said, my daughter's taught to be kind to all, and she has a reputation for being one of the sweetest, loveliest children in the school. They've all said that. But I said, there's a difference between that and her learning about things that she is not, it's not age appropriate for her. It's not okay. I'm not okay with it. And I said to her, you know, some of the relationships and parenthood are of a sexual nature. My daughter doesn't need to know how to get pregnant. You know, she doesn't need to know. She's 10, for goodness sake. And she doesn't need to know about, I mentioned the kind of gay pride and I said, she doesn't need to know this because this is sexual. Why does she need to know? Why do these children need to know about this? The school were promoting purple for the Pride Day and the children all had to wear purple. And I said to my daughter, do you understand what any of this is about? And she said, no, we just get to wear purple, mummy, for the day, and can I wear purple? And I thought that, to me, this is my personal view, that's grooming. I'm sorry, but that is to me. I don't agree with this. The children don't understand what they're doing, but they're being asked to take part in something, you know, that they don't know about. So yeah, I got the apology, but I mean, since then, myself, my husband, we used to help out and do things with the school, and I felt after that we were treated very as if we had done something wrong. You know, we were in a very cold manner. There wasn't the warmth and the friendliness, the relationship that we had before. I felt like a criminal, like I had done something really bad just for saying, I'm not okay with this for my daughter. And I want to exert my right to remove her. And yes, I got the apology, but I didn't feel it was heartfelt. I didn't feel it was genuine. It was forced. And the behavior of not all of the teachers, but some of them since then, I've thought, well, they weren't happy at me taking it further. They weren't happy at me complaining and doing my right as a parent, you know. So it is concerning because even though it was, I also said to the head teacher as well, are you going to let parents know, especially the ones that have complained, that you got it wrong? Are you going to put out a letter? Are you going to do something to inform the parents? And she said, oh, yes, absolutely. That letter never happened. It didn't happen. It wasn't sent out. I'm still waiting. And she also said she would hold a consultation with the parents to discuss it and to see what they thought. Again, that hasn't happened. I'm still waiting for that too. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it's very interesting, very concerning. I mean, it's what was so telling about this grandmother who I was talking to yesterday was the collective and collaborative approach of teachers in the past, which is my memory of my primary school and my mother's relationship and other parents' relationship, was that parents saw themselves as part of the community. Yeah,
Yeah.
So not parents, sorry, teachers saw themselves
Teacher.
as part of the community, right? And it was important for them to have a good relationship with the parents. And as she described it, all the parents were invited collectively to view the material. Now, I've heard from many parents now that what happens is there's various parents who know each other and are concerned about it, and they approach the head teacher and say, can we come and talk to you about it? And they're told, absolutely, you as an individual can come and talk to me, but I am not talking to any more than one person at a time. So there seems to be quite a conscious approach where you isolate parents and don't allow parents to meet collectively with the teacher. It's almost like parents are seen as a potential threat and a danger, and you don't want them brought together. So you just say, I'll have one at a time. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we end up in a situation like you're in, where parents individually have to withdraw from material that I suspect many parents think is problematic. As I said, one of the images that is shown an awful lot is a kind of spread-eagled woman, where children at this young age are taught to try and identify the clitoris and understand sexual pleasure. And you're thinking, well, I'm very liberal on pretty much everything, really, and I think what this is very peculiar. And I mean, Jenny Cunningham, who's written a pamphlet on the problems with the transgender guidelines, made the point that what you have now is and excuse my sociological language, but it's the normalization of sexualized childhood. Schools are making childhood sexualized and making that normal. And she also makes the point, which is a useful observation, that historically she was a pediatrician for over 30 years. And she said one of the red flags that they always recognized in young children was when they had the language, they had sex language, right? That they knew terms that were not age appropriate, that you wouldn't expect them to know. And when they knew that, it was often a red flag that there might be an issue of child abuse taking place here. Whereas now, of course, you've got these children being educated by the school to know a language that is not age appropriate, and that actually could be problematic in terms of being able to identify whether there are genuine problems. So there's so many issues with this, and whatever people think, however liberal people are, I think it's the dismissing of parents, which is a concern, and it should be a concern, I think, if you want to run a primary school as part of a community, that parents are dismissed in this way. And you're a really good example of what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. It's absolutely vile. Parents are being made to feel like we have no say with our own children. We have no control. And yes, I understand that there are children who are exposed to certain things, but like I said to her, speak for yourself. Mine is not, and I've worked extremely hard, thank you very much, to protect her. Yes, obviously there are dangers, but excuse me, have some trust in me as her mother to explain this to her myself. And she mentioned, I said, you guys talk a lot about stranger danger and all of this. And I said, to me, that's wrong. Usually someone who's going to hurt you, someone close to you. And I said, and you're putting down a lot of families and parents and saying that, children are being exposed to this. I says, there are cases of teachers, many cases of teachers abusing their position with children. And I mean, that particular school as well, they've had reports where the children were underachieving, underperforming in things like maths and English and basic things. I said, come on, focus on this rather than, a lot of these children are having anxiety, they're having mental health issues. Of course they are, because they're not emotionally or mentally mature enough to deal with all of this. I had a couple of my daughter's friends at the door, and they were joking about a boy in the class had liked another boy and he was going to punch him and do this and that, and they were kind of laughing and giggling and joking. These children don't understand, they don't get it, but they're being told all of this stuff and they think it's normal and this is what they should be doing. I do not believe for 1 second that the majority of the children these days who want to change their gender or do this or that, the thought would never have even entered their heads if it wasn't discussed in front of them, if it wasn't put into their heads. You've got a lot of confused children, a lot of anxious children. And I don't know, I just think, like you say though, parents, we're not allowed to say anything. We're just, nope, stop, we don't care, we're not listening, and it's quite sad.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll end it there. That's fantastic. Just to let people know that, of course, that our strap line is education, not indoctrination. And it's a strap line that we think is really important on a number of issues, including the ones that Sarah's just raised there on the sexualized nature of childhood, which is taking place in schools of all places, and the promotion of transgender ideology, which is also taking place in primary schools and is part of the curriculum. If anyone wants to get in touch with us, you can look us up, Scottish Union for Education Substack. Please do subscribe. It's £25 for a year, and basically we're trying to become self-sustaining so that we can employ people to help us with our work. And you can email us at info@scottishunionforeducation.co.uk.